Hi friends, here's your strength and stability class homework for week 3 of our January series. So we had 2 upper body exercises. One was the pull apart, and we also did that with stabilizing with one arm and pulling with the other. We did do that laying down. I'm going to show you standing, but you can do it laying down as well. We did the pull over, which we did with that machine at the clinic, but we're going to use a medium to heavy resistance band for that at home. And we did the standing abduction with internal rotation and also for balance, so balance on one leg and stability muscles on the other, and then the hamstring bridge, so on your back, feet on an elevated surface. We did do it on a ball at the clinic, which you're welcome to try at home, but if that was a little too much for you, if you just put your feet on an elevated surface and then work up to that, adding that instability component. And I'm going to use 2 yoga blocks for that, just to make it a little higher, because we've done it with just 1 yoga block before. Well, for that first shoulder stability, we did first just both arms together. So before you begin, if you're going to try standing, make sure you set your foundation. So you want to make sure you're not forward in your feet, your toes are back in your heels, shoulders up a little bit and back, and then pulling, making sure you're keeping a soft bend in your elbows and keeping your wrists straight as you do this, and arms about shoulder height. So if you tried standing and you notice some neck tension starting to build, then go ahead and do that one on your back. And we'll next do one of the lower body exercises, so the standing with the abduction, so the leg was going off to the side. So set your foundation on one leg, focus on pushing that foot down into the floor, so focusing on pushing a little bit more with the heel, and then the leg will come out to the side. We did work on this, feeling that internal rotation first, because you want to keep those hips from moving. The tendency here would be to turn the whole body like that, but we want to focus on keeping that right in that hip joint. So we did that to kind of get a feel for that motion, and then we did the leg lift, so toes back like you're standing on it, and then internal rotation. So you remember you want to keep that at the inside that joint, and then lifting out to the side. And you should feel that right there on the side. And I recommend, we just did 10 because we were kind of warming up, but you can probably do, maybe you can do 20 or even 25 on each side and do 2 or 3 sets of those on each side. For the next upper body exercise, it was the pull over, laying on the back. So I have a resistance band attached to my table here, but you just have to find something just sturdy to wrap it around for doing this at home. You can just do this with your knees bent. Just make sure that you're just drawing those ribs down and just keeping tone through the abdominals. And the arms starting straight, want a little tension to start off, and you're going to pull your arms down to your sides. Inhale, bring your arms up. This can making sure you're controlling those ribs to avoid this situation of ribs flaring or back overarching. And doing your best to retain neutral spine. And if you're having a hard time feeling wobbly, you can try that by flattening your low back. I just like to be careful with that, so when you do that, you're not creating too much tension, because that can create tension in the neck if you're overexerting to press the low back down. So you want to just be mindful of that. And part of what we're always doing is working on mindfulness and our movement to better understand what's happening in our body when we're doing different moves. And then the last one was the hamstring bridge. So I have 2 blocks here. It's a little skinny of a surface. It's okay, my feet just about fit on there, or just barely fit on there, because I want me to use the hip distance. Remember, hip distance is about 2 fists between your knees and feet. This is not super stable, so I'd recommend something a little bit more stable if you're going to do this. And pressing up, I can feel those hamstrings start to work. So I need some hydration. Okay, awesome. Okay. And if you feel that's possible, you're too close, because I was a little bit close in there, so it's going to be hard to activate my hamstrings with that level, that much flexion in my knee. So if I move back, it becomes just a little bit more manageable. it's hard to make the hamstrings work if the knee is already really bent because the muscle's kind of shortened already. So you want to make sure you got about 90 degrees there when you do this one. Okay. All right, that's it for this week's homework. We had the pull apart. We did do that one arm at a time, or both arms together, and then one arm at a time, one arm stabilizing, one arm pulling. And then we did the abduction, so standing on one leg, leg to the side with internal rotation, and the pull over, which is a lot of those core muscles and the big muscles in the back, the lats. And we also did the bridge with the biasing the hamstrings. So those 4 are things you can work on between now and next week's class. Have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.